Welcome to my kitchen table. I'm Rachel. Today we're going to be making mushroom risotto, roast duck breast, and baby broccoli, which is called broccolini. And I think I'm going to saute that. I haven't really decided, so you're going to be just as surprised as I am. We're going to start with the risotto because this one you have to watch constantly. I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil heating up in the pan, and 2 different types of mushrooms. I've got portobellos and white button mushrooms. They're both sliced thinly. And at this time, I'm going to go ahead and add them to the pan so they can get started. And they will only take just a couple of minutes to cook. Whew. They're falling out. They will shrink down, I promise. We're not going to put any salt on them because salt tends to draw out moisture. So we're just going to let these cook down without putting any seasoning on it for right now. And again, these will just take about a couple of minutes. In this pan, I have 6 cups of chicken broth heating on low, because we want that we want the broth heated through so that we don't have to wait for that broth to come to temperature as we add it to the pan when we're cooking our risotto, because that dish is one of those ones where it's kind of finicky, so you really need to watch the pan the entire time. All right, you guys, the mushrooms are just about done. The broth is heated through, and so I'm gonna just leave it on a low setting just so it stays warm while we wait on the mushrooms to finish. Basically, you should have liquid like this coming out of your mushrooms. This is what we want, what we're looking for. Keep that liquid. Okay, so now these are done, and I am just going to set these off to the side. I'm going to move this pan. We're working with a little bit of a different setup here. I'm trying to make my lighting a lot better. So this is kind of awkward for us right now. But we're going to get there. We're going to figure it out, and just bear with us. So now I've got a 12-inch nonstick skillet on my burner, and I've got it on medium heat. And then we're going to start doing our rice for our mushroom risotto. Let's start with a tablespoon of olive oil in my pan. And I'm going to let that heat up until it's shimmering so that it will cook the shallots that are about to go in next. Now I have 1 large shallot here. You can use, if you've got a small shallot, please use 2 for this recipe. Because mine was like ginormous, I just used the 1 because I thought it made the most sense. I have a mushroom. While I wait for the olive oil to heat up, I wanted to tell you guys that the duck breast that we're making tonight is one of our absolutely favorite proteins on earth. Don't be afraid to try duck breast. It is delicious. It's not gamey. It's not weird. It's nothing of the sort. It is actually a very beautifully tasting meat, and I wish I could have it every single night. But we also don't want to get sick of it, and it's kind of pricey. So 1 is good occasionally. It's a very easy way to cook it the way that I do it, and it tastes phenomenal, and it's almost foolproof. So just stick with me on this one. Give this a try. I promise you guys, you're gonna say, what the duck? All right, you guys, pan's hot, ready to go. So I'm gonna add 1 shallot. And because this is a quick moving process, I have already prepared all of the ingredients. So you guys won't see me prepare any of the ingredients today. And I mainly did that just for the sake of time. So we're gonna stir this shallot in and let it kind of render for about a minute. And the next thing to go in is our 1.5 cups of arborio rice. You cannot use any other type of rice other than arborio rice. That is the risotto rice. And risotto is traditionally a starter rice dish. It's not a side dish, but today I'm breaking those rules and I'm gonna make it a side dish. All right, that is ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and just add my rice. Put a mushroom in there. I'm gonna stir it around just to coat it with that oil. When the rice turns a pale golden color, we're gonna add the wine. So you wanna use a 1/2 cup of dry white wine. And then I've got 6 cups of chicken broth. All right. Now I'm just gonna kind of spread this out a little bit and let it toast for a moment. All right, that rice is a pale golden color, so now I'm gonna add a 1/2 cup of dry white wine. And what you wanna do is just stir constantly until that wine is absorbed. Okay. All right, and now we're going to add about a 1/2 cup of chicken broth at a time. Until this is all absorbed. And you're just gonna keep stirring. And we're gonna do this for the full 6 cups of the chicken broth to make sure that the arborio rice is nice and cooked, has absorbed all of that liquid, and is tender and tasty. All right. We're just about ready to add the next 1/2 cup. And this is why I tell you guys that we're gonna do this first, because it is so time consuming and you have to, well, it's not time consuming by like, it takes a long time to cook, but it's time consuming in that you have to watch it at every moment. I'm sorry I'm not looking at the screen more. Again, we're working with a new camera. Well, new lighting setup type of thing. Okay. All right, now come watch while I stir this so you can see what it looks like and how it comes together and how quickly this gets absorbed. And again, guys, this is a 12-inch skillet over medium-high heat. And this is gonna go for a total about 15 to 20 minutes. And I can already tell it's starting to fluff up a bit too, which is great. It's what it's supposed to do. You see how quickly that absorbed all of that moisture? Got a little bit of mushroom in there. All right, so we are about to have this all absorbed, and I'm going to need to get another 1/2 cup of chicken broth. All right, guys, we're about 4.5 cups of chicken broth into the cooking process. And I want to show you how far it's come since you last saw it. It's still al dente, but it is plumping up quite beautifully. And we just have about 2 more cups of chicken broth to go. Well, I guess 1.5 before this should make its before this is complete. As we are in the home stretch, this is the last half cup of chicken broth, and we have got us a creamy risotto. I'm really excited about it. Of course, we're not finished yet. We still have some things to do, put our garnishments on and things like that, but overall this came together beautifully. It took 20 minutes, constant stirring. Look how creamy that is. We've still got a little bit more chicken broth to absorb before we begin to season our risotto, but it is coming together beautifully. Look at that. Oh, look at that. Okay, we are all done with the risotto, cooking it on the stove, and now we are going to add in all of our garnishments. We have here our mushrooms that we cooked earlier with their liquid. We have 4 tablespoons of butter that's going to make this even creamier and tastier than it already is. We're going to use salt, and we're going to use pepper, and we're going to use some chopped green onions. And last but not least, freshly grated, I should say, Grano Padano cheese. If you don't know what Grano Padano is, you are missing out. It is a beautiful cheese. All right, so we're going to start first with the mushrooms, and we're liquid too. Make sure it all goes in the skillet along with the risotto. Get all of those mushrooms. All right. We're going to stir these in gently. We don't want to break them, and we don't want to fling food all over the place. So we're going to gently stir this in and incorporate it. This looks so good. Okay, now for the butter. We're going to just go ahead and add each tablespoon in. And this butter has basically just come to room temperature. I've had it sitting out. I didn't want to put cold butter into a hot dish, so I just let it come to room temperature. Beautiful. All right, and while this is melting, I'm going to go ahead and add some salt and pepper now. Okay. And really your salt and pepper is just to taste. There's no measurement that I'm using other than just eyeballing it, giving it something to start with, and then we'll go from there. A bit of pepper. Even if you like pepper a lot, you guys, the risotto is the star here. The mushrooms are just an accompaniment, and the seasoning is just for flavor, added flavor. So we want to make sure that the risotto stands out. So don't overpower the risotto with a whole bunch of pepper or salt. Okay. Salt, pepper is in, butter is melted. This just looks amazing as it is, but we are going to add Grano Padano right on in. And you guys can use Parmesan cheese as well if you'd like. For me, I like Parmesan, but Grano Padano has a better flavor in my opinion, so I just use it. Stir that right in. There we go. And I used about 1/3 of a cup of Grano Padano. There we are. God, this is looking amazing. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to eat it. All right, guys, we got there. The last hill to the mountain. Here we go. Just sprinkle green onions, sliced green onions on top. This is about one, I have about one full green onion in here. And this is the finished product. Your mushroom risotto. And as always, we want to give it a taste so that we make sure our seasonings are on point and it tastes delicious. Oh, wow. That is so, so, so good. Okay, first of all, it's creamy. Secondly, that onion is really giving it an additional bite that is lovely. Alongside this creamy, earthy, umami, delicious rice that I'm just like in love with all of a sudden. You guys, for real, this was so easy. You have to pay attention to it, so you really need to make it like the one dish you're working on at the time. But ultimately, so worth it. And this is so delicious. You guys gotta try this. Oh yeah. Okay, oh, yeah. On to preparing the duck. You want to make sure that you pat your duck breast dry because you don't want any excess moisture. It's not necessary. We're going to actually do something a little unorthodox that you're probably not used to. But if you have never, ever, ever cooked duck before, then you're going to be like, whoa. So we're wanting to start the duck breast in a cold pan, not a hot pan, because these duck breasts, let me just show you. They're very fatty, okay? And so what ends up happening is if you start these out in a hot pan, that grease is going to seal. That fat will seal right to the duck and it will not render out that fat. So it's gonna make for a very greasy breast. So what you wanna do is you want to start it off cold in a cold pan and gradually heat it up. So right now, all we're gonna do is we're gonna salt and pepper. That's it, just salt. And you wanna salt from a great height so that way you can monitor how much is being drizzled on your meat. This goes for all meat, not just duck breast. That way you're not over seasoning anything, but seasoning enough to where you have enough flavor, because again, you can't add it afterwards. Okay, so we're just gonna do a little bit of pepper. And this looks beautiful. I'm gonna flip it over to have the flesh side down, skin side up. And we're gonna salt and pepper this side as well. All right, and pepper. Okay, and then just kind of press it in. A little bit more on them. Pepper there, press it in. All right, 10-inch skillet. Nothing in the pan. No oil, no heat. Duck breast in, and it's gonna go on the burner. Okay, duck breast on. I'm gonna start the pan at medium heat, and what I want to see happen is I want this fat to begin to render out of this pan and create the oil that we need to finish cooking the duck. Once that fat has rendered and you have a beautifully browned piece of fat on our duck breast and all of that fat is rendered, we're gonna flip it over. So this will just take probably about 10 minutes at the most so that that pan can heat up. And this is a heavy duty pan too, so it'll take a little bit longer than a lightweight pan will to heat. So I'm going to estimate that this fat will render in roughly 10 minutes. It may take longer, it may not, but for right now I'm going to say 10 minutes. It's time to start the broccolini. So we're going to take the saute pan out. I am first going to turn this the front burner on to medium-high heat to get that going so that I can maintain the temperature of my pan. Okay. I'm gonna put a tablespoon of olive oil in the pan. Can you see what I'm doing? You cannot. Here, we'll go over here. There we go. Tablespoon of olive oil in the pan. Okay, so this is broccolini, and this is what we're gonna work on next. Broccolini is a baby broccoli, and you can find it at most grocery stores. I know that I've in the past have had trouble finding it, but today I was lucky and found it. Okay, so we're just going to put these in the pan. I'm going to take some tongs and just kind of get them all coated with that oil first before I do anything else. And you guys, be mindful when you take your pan out of the oven that it is very hot. Please use a pot holder when you go to touch them. The pot, that is. Pan, skillet. Now for the seasoning. Simple seasoning today. Salt, pepper, and garlic. Just a little bit of salt. Pepper. And garlic. I'm quite generous with the garlic, I will tell you. And these are just going to saute for a little bit till they start to get a little bit tender. Once they do that, I'm going to hit them with a little bit of water to kind of steam them up a little bit, further tenderizing them. And this should take about 10 minutes also. Okay, you guys, things got moving a little bit too quick for me in the camera. So basically what I did was I flipped over the duck for just a second while it rendered, or after it was done rendering the fat, and then I flipped it back on its skin and put it in a 400-degree oven. I'm going to keep it there for about 6 minutes total, and then we're going to check it at that point. All right, these broccolini look like they are ready for some water, so we're going to hit it with some water and cover it up I'm probably not going to use all of this water. I'm just going to use a little bit. Cover it as best I can. This is the closest lid that I have to cover my cast iron skillet, so we'll use that. Alright, you guys, the duck breast is done, and I think sadly it might have gotten a little overcooked. We'll check. Which should be what the skin looks like when all is said and done. However, we're going to need to let this rest for a little while because you can't slice into it when it's hot. You have to wait until it's cooled down, so that way the juices don't go running out everywhere. I'm really hoping that it did not overcook. My oven got a little bit hotter than I had set it for, which I know that it runs a little hot. I should have checked. I did not. That was my mistake. So I'm really hoping I did not screw up my duck, but if I did, well, I'm going to eat it anyway, but I'm going to be very sad about it. Okay, at this point, I'm going to check the broccolini because I don't want to overcook that. Okay, it looks like it's tenderizing nicely. You guys keep in mind these stalks are pretty thick, so you have to make sure that you tenderize them enough before you eat them, otherwise you're just eating a very hard stalk of broccoli. Alright, and I am just going to check the doneness of them now. So I'm just going to pierce the stalk with a knife, and they are done. So now I'm just going to check for taste and make sure I don't need to add any more seasonings. They definitely need more salt. I feel like that water washed away all of the seasonings. These actually, the stalks are still a little bit tough. Well, they're not tough, they're just crunchy. And Joe's not a big fan of crunchy. So I'm going to add a little bit more water. And then I'm going to steam them for a little bit longer. Just to get these, oops, I turned it off already. Just to get these stalks kind of nice and soft. The broccolini is done. I think it tasted better a minute ago, but I try to cater to everybody's taste around here. Is the final product here, the broccolini. Just give you a little idea there. They taste good, but I think I'm going to add a little bit more garlic to them. And a little bit more salt. I did add garlic. I just forgot to turn on the camera. Sorry. And a little bit more pepper. Give it all that flavor. All right. Okay. Here's the moment of truth, you guys. I'm so nervous right now. I cannot even tell you. You want to cut thin slices of your duck. I'm going to cut on the fat side too, the skin side. Oh, it isn't that bad. It's a little dark, but it's still pink in the middle, so it's good. Alright, well, I was really nervous there for a moment. So you just want to cut it into slices, make it look nice and pretty. Oh yeah, that does look good. Okay. Well, we're going to be very happy about dinner then. And you're going to pick it up at once and set it on your plate. We're going to have to wipe off that blood. But this is basically, here, I'm going to do this. This is basically how you want to have it set up for your guests or whomever you're feeding. Maybe just your family. Okay, so now we have the duck breast and the broccolini on. Time for a little bit of the risotto. on both plates. There we go. All right. And there you have it. Beautiful duck breast, broccolini, and mushroom risotto. I'm going to taste this duck breast really fast because, okay. Great. I'm going to try it out. This is my plate, so I'm going to try my own because Joe will kill me if I eat his duck. Well, not that though. Rendered great. Kudos to me there. It's still good. Very tender, very flavorful. Not too overdone. It's about I'd say a medium. We typically like our medium rare. This is like a medium, so it's not too far out of our wheelhouse where it's gonna upset us to have to eat it. No, this is delicious. Salt and pepper is really all a duck breast needs. You don't have to get so fancy with it. I mean, I know that people do the orange sauce, the duck sauce, and all that stuff. But to be honest with you, I think that salt and pepper brings out the natural flavors of that duck. That just makes it superb. Just superb. Chef's kiss. For sure. The broccolini, you guys are going to have to steam just a little bit after you saute them so that way that they're not so tough. And I like them crunchy, Joe doesn't, so we're doing what Joe likes today, which is okay. I just prefer it a little bit more crispy and crunchy. And then that mushroom risotto is top notch, you guys, top notch. I think the duck and the risotto, neck and neck. Usually the duck would be my favorite thing on the plate, but tonight, that's a struggle. Do you see them back there? Say hi. Connor, can you say hi? But anyway, you guys, give these dishes a try. They're very easy. They're so good, and your family will love them, I promise. And that duck, don't be afraid to try duck. You guys, try the duck. It's great. Thanks so much for watching. You guys can follow me on Instagram and Pinterest at Rachel's_kitchen_table, as well as here on YouTube. Just subscribe to my channel. Like my video if you like it. Leave a comment if you have a question or just want to mention something or whatever you want to do. You guys, thank you for watching my videos. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to see what I have to say and what I have to cook. And I do hope that you do try these at home. Let me know if you do. I'd love to have a chat about it. Thanks again, guys. Have a great night. Happy eating. Bye.